They'll never see it, the weight you carry behind your eyes. Not in the selfies, not in the meetings, not when you laugh at the right time, smile when it's expected, nod when you're supposed to, but it's there. A storm behind your ribs, a scream that never escapes your throat. That pain, quiet, sharp, invisible, is not your weakness. It is your fuel. Because history doesn't remember those who were never broken. It remembers those who were and rose anyway. You see, silent pain is the crucible of the extraordinary. Not the kind of pain that seeks attention, but the kind that sharpens you alone at 2 a.m., the kind that no one claps for, the kind that teaches you everything about who you are, what you fear, and what you're made to become. Thomas Edison was called addled by his teachers, tossed out of school for being too slow. He didn't whine, he didn't retreat. He turned that silent humiliation into over 1,000 patents. He didn't just invent the light bulb, he became the light in a world that doubted him. That's the secret. When the world stops clapping, when the applause dies down, when the room goes silent and no one sees you, that's when your real work begins. We live in a world addicted to noise, likes, validation, external motivation. But greatness, it's forged in silence. It's carved from discomfort. And if you carry pain, real, soul-burning pain, then you carry the raw material of greatness. But here's the truth no one wants to say. Most people drown in their pain because they were never taught to breathe underwater. But you're not most people. You're not here to be comfortable. You're here to be capable. You're here to build a fire from everything that tried to burn you. Your belief system is the architecture of your reality. And the first brick is this: your pain is a signal, not a sentence. It's not here to end you. It's here to shape you. But only if you stop running, only if you lean into it with open eyes and clenched fists. When Andrew Carnegie stood in poverty with nothing but grit, he didn't blame the world. He turned his silent frustration into action, into steel, industry, and a legacy that outlived him by a century. He didn't get there by chance. He got there by deciding that no wound would define him, and neither will yours. But decision alone is not enough. You need clarity. The kind of clarity that comes not from comfort, but from confrontation. Confront the things you've been avoiding, the truths you've been numbing, the fears that whisper you're not enough. Look them dead in the eye and say, I was built for more than this. Because when you finally confront the shadows, they lose their power. What was once pain becomes clarity, and clarity becomes vision. Vision that pierces through fog. Vision that sees not just what is, but what can be. Vision that refuses to let pain be wasted. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. Imagine that. His pain, rejection, his power, creation. He didn't get bitter. He got better. He took his humiliation and turned it into an empire of dreams. And so can you. But vision without discipline is a hallucination, and pain, if not directed, becomes poison. So take your pain and discipline it. Craft routines with the weight of your wounds. Build habits not to impress others, but to liberate yourself. Every repetition is a rebellion. Every 5 a.m. alarm, every rep, every focused hour is you saying, this pain will serve me, not own me. You want power? You want transformation? Then don't just feel the pain, use it. Discipline turns victims into warriors, and warriors don't chase comfort, they chase capacity. Abraham Lincoln lost his mother at 9, his sweetheart at 26, 8 elections, 2 business failures. He bled in silence for years, and through that, he became the man who held a fractured nation together. Not by running from pain, but by learning to carry it with dignity, with vision, with unshakable purpose. Your purpose lives beneath the rubble of your excuses, and pain will dig it up if you let it. But you must move. Pain unexpressed becomes depression. Pain suppressed becomes rage. But pain channeled, that becomes fire, and fire creates. It powers cities. It forges steel. It burns paths where none existed. So act, even when you're not ready, especially when you're not ready. Action is not the last step, It's the first antidote. Henry Ford didn't wait for perfect conditions. He moved while the world doubted. He didn't ask for permission. He gave himself the command to build something eternal. That's what you must do. Give yourself the command, not tomorrow, not when it's easy. Now you see, pain wants you to stop. It whispers, just survive. But power? Power demands that you evolve. It whispers back, thrive. Anyway, and as you act, as you climb out of the pit that once held you down, something sacred begins to grow. Gratitude. Not the soft kind, not a Hallmark card or a social media caption, but warrior's gratitude, the kind that thanks the struggle for sharpening your soul, the kind that bows not to blessings, but to the battle, the kind that knows, this didn't happen to me, it happened for me. Every setback, every silent cry, every betrayal that shattered your trust, they weren't curses, they were calls. And now you've answered, with your head high, with your heart open, with your will unbreakable. But life is not linear. Progress doesn't knock politely. It crashes through you in waves. And every time you rise, another test arrives. Not to punish you, but to prove you. Adaptability is not just survival. It is the quiet genius of those who endure. It's how Darwin defined the fittest, not the strongest, not the smartest, but the most adaptable to change. And change will come, sudden, sharp, unfair, like a phone call that splits your world in two, like a loss you never saw coming, like a dream that dies mid-bloom. But pain is not the end. It is the invitation to evolve, to pivot, to rise with a new blueprint in your hands. You don't build an empire by avoiding failure. You build it by rebuilding every time the storm destroys what you thought was permanent. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison, his youth stolen, his country broken, and yet when the doors opened, he did not walk out bitter. He walked out bigger, the very embodiment of transformation. He did not use pain to divide. He used it to unite. That is the highest form of strength, not the kind that crushes, but the kind that carries. Because true power is quiet. It doesn't scream. It doesn't prove itself. It simply becomes. And you are becoming right now, through every moment of discomfort, through every disciplined hour when no one applauds, through every time you choose growth over numbness, stillness over reaction, responsibility over blame. Learning becomes your weapon. Not academic learning, but soul learning, the kind earned through bruises, the kind that wisdom is made of, the kind that can't be faked in speeches or mimicked in quotes. When you learn from your pain, it loses its sting and gains meaning. It becomes your teacher. And the most powerful students? They graduate with vision. So study yourself. Study the stories you've been repeating in your mind. Study the patterns that bind you. And then rewrite them. Because you are not the pain. You are the person who endured it. And that distinction makes all the difference. There is no transformation without resistance. No greatness without grief. No elevation without excavation. You want to rise? Then dig deep. Not to bury the pain, but to uncover the power it's been guarding all along. It's there, right beneath the ache, right beneath the guilt, the fear, the shame. Your strength isn't in the mask you wear. It's in the scars you own, the quiet triumphs, the daily resilience, the morning you got out of bed when everything begged you to stay down. That is glory, not perfection, but persistence. Because pain doesn't ask if you're ready. It arrives like an uninvited guest. But power is a choice. The decision to rise, to reframe, to rebuild from the same rubble meant to bury you. Eleanor Roosevelt said, "A woman is like a tea bag. You can't tell how strong she is until you put her in hot water." But it's not just women. It's all of us. All of us are untested vessels until the heat hits. And when it hits, what will you do? Will you evaporate? Or will you boil over with purpose? Because deep inside you, behind all the silence, all the suppressed emotion, all the disappointments that piled like bricks on your back, is a power so sacred, so ferocious, that it could rewrite everything. It just needs your permission. Not the world's approval, not your past validation, just your decision to stop waiting for life to give you clarity and start creating it from the chaos. Your silent pain was never meant to be a prison. It was meant to be your origin story. And like every great legend, your scars are not your shame. They are your symbols of what you've survived, of what you're becoming, of the fire you walked through and came out not burned, but blazing. So let them see you, not the polished version, the real you, the warrior who bled quietly, but never stopped marching. The soul who alchemized every heartache into momentum, who turned every no into fuel, who turned every breakdown into a breakthrough. Because in the end, the world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs more powerful survivors, people who carry both pain and purpose, people who've walked through hell and came back with blueprints for heaven, people like you. You've been underestimated, overlooked, misunderstood, but none of that matters anymore. Because from this moment forward, you're not defined by what happened to you. You're defined by what you do with it. And when the dust settles, when the world finally sees the empire you built from ruins, they'll ask how you did it, and you'll smile. Not because they finally noticed, but because you already knew. You knew that silent pain was never the end. It was just the beginning of your unstoppable power. Now go. Turn it into fire.